One mistake here, 20 more hours worth of work. What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's Radformational video. Possibly one of the most high-risk, stressful things you can do to your rotary engine while it's in your car. Because if you mess this up, you got to take the engine apart. Largely, you probably just need to remove it and fix it. So, the front main seal on a rotary engine resides within the front cover. This nice black seal right here. You're going to have a pulley, just like this, that's going to be sitting in front of that. So I'll show you on my RX8. Mine's been leaking a bunch. I got oil all up in here, kind of making a mess. You can see that it's way buried down in there. There's a lot of peripheral stuff that we may have to remove, but largely we don't. I've already got all the battery and intake and all that stuff out of the way because race car, things are deleted. But on your rotary, it might be a little different. Now, the rotary engine, I'm pretty sure every single Mazda rotary engine front cover uses the same front main seal. I could very well be slightly wrong, but I'm pretty dang sure they're all the same. There's only one part number for it. That means that this is applicable to most rotary engines. Now, you are going to see, when I do this, we're going to depress the clutch. Now, if you have an FD that still has a pull-style clutch, this may not work, and you're going to have to pry the flywheel forward instead of pushing on the clutch because your clutch is actually pulling the end play out of the back of the engine. So now, that word, end play. In order to get to this front main seal, you've got to remove the front pulley. Now, you might think that that doesn't really seem that hard, and no, it doesn't. It's a 19mm bolt. You put your car on the ground, put it in gear, hold the brake. You can probably break it loose. But what is high risk about this situation is what is happening behind this pulley. Okay? So, on a Mazda rotary, the end play is set off the front of the engine. What end play is your lateral movement of the eccentric shaft back and forth in the engine. What that does, that little bit of play keeps everything happy, keeps everything from getting hot, just keeps it happy. Gotta have it. Otherwise it burns stuff up. Metal on metal, not good. So how that's set is behind the front cover, okay? So your front cover is going to go on here, just like this. It's going to poke through. That's what you're going to be looking at. Your pulley is going to mount on that. You're going to have a big bolt down the center. When you take that bolt off, you need to prevent all of the stuff that is behind the pulley from moving forward. Like this. Reason being, I'm going to take this stack apart and I'll show you. That front pulley puts pressure on your in-play spacer and your Torrington bearings. If a Torrington bearing, so we'll take the oil pump drive gear off, OMP distributor drive gear, the front counterweight off, and now you're going to see the important bits, okay? Ugh. Come on, I put this together with one hand. Okay, this is a Torrington bearing. This needle bearing right here. If this bearing falls off of the end play spacer forward, like this, blip, to where it's now resting on the eccentric shaft itself, when you tighten that hub bolt down, you're going to crush that end play spacer, or crush the Torrington bearing into the end play spacer, and you will no longer have any end play. It will be solid. The engine will most likely not be happy when you start it the first time after that, and you're going to have to take the front cover off, take all this apart, put it back together properly, and make sure that everything is right. Now, in the car, you could probably do that. It's best when you stack a rotary engine. You actually flip the engine up vertical, so all this stuff is going down vertically. It can't fall, this way. You're going to have the eccentric shaft sitting like that. So this stuff can't move side to side, right? Notice that just fell right back into place. Now, you may only think that's the front Torrington bearing that's at risk here. But as a matter of fact, under the stationary gear cover, there is a second Torrington bearing down in here as well. So this is the one that commonly gets crushed. End play spacer comes up, do that, you buzz that down, ruined. So we're going to do this on the RX8. We're going to hope that we don't mess it up. So the first thing we want to check is the actual end play on the engine. So I'm going to pull the water pump pulley off just to get it out of the way. I'm going to pull my main only belt off to get that out of the way. Unfortunately, there's really not enough room in here to get my impact on that 19mm, so we are going to have to put it in gear to try to break that loose. And then, I mentioned hold the clutch in, right? What holding the clutch in is going to do is eliminate all the end play and push the eccentric shaft as far forward as it possibly can go, okay? That, in theory, holds the eccentric shaft from falling out the back of the engine when you take the front hub bolt off. No, it won't like fall all the way out, but it's going to move. When you take that hub bolt off, you're going to have a 1/4 inch of end play, right? So you don't want the E-shaft to fall backwards, and then all your stuff falls down. That's why on FD's pull style clutch, I don't think it'll work. You're going to have to pry the clutch pressure plate flywheel forward to make up all that end play, to lock it in place. So anyways, we're going to do that. We're going to bust the nut loose. I'm going to lock the clutch down, pull that hub off, pry the front main seal out, push the new front main seal in, put the whole thing back together. Hopefully, click, 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 we still have end play when that's all done. If we don't, then I'm probably just going to remove the engine to fix it, because unless I stand my car up vertically, yeah, let's take it apart. Alright guys, so what I'm doing is I can feel the end play right now pushing back and forth on the eccentric shaft, just barely. You kind of got to have a touch for it. Alright, now it's time to break that nut loose. It's going to be a 19mm socket. What I don't want to do right now, okay, is take that nut all the way out. I'm going to get it loose enough to where I can push the clutch in and still take the bolt out. Or I say nut, it's a bolt. Big old bolt. Reason being is I don't want the pulley to move around until I get the clutch depressed. But I'm going to need it to probably be in gear with the park brake on to bust that loose. And hopefully I don't drive my car through my shop wall cranking on this thing. So let's get that nut loose. You can feel all the forces in the car. I'm so sorry, car. Oh! Whew. Might be time for the jack handle. I'm driving the car. Maybe I need to put pressure on the brake pedal as well. It's in 6th gear with the e-brake at full rip. No way. Spinning the clutch. Had to clearance it a little bit. Since I'm not too worried about the structural integrity of that little cross member in there, we dented it. Now I can fit the big Johnny Dog impact on here. So it is through 2 extensions and a wobble socket. It's an impact wobble socket. But maybe I can hit it with this for a bit and kind of shake it and then get the ratchet back on it and bust it loose. We got to get this off. We're under the car on an RX8. The only way to get inside this bell housing, there's no inspection covers really all the way around it. Not like an FD with a nice open plate here. Just through the starter. So I pulled the starter out. Now, loosening the front of the engine is turning the engine clockwise, so this is going to try to spin That way I have like a punch here. And I wonder if I can get something jammed up in this clutch that will keep it from spinning. This is the only place that I can actually grab the clutch in any form. So I think the move's going to be to wedge a pry bar in here and then try to get it off. The perks of working with one person is you got to bungee cord the pry bar so it stays in there. It's not trying to, the bungee cord's not holding the rotation. The pry bar's wedged in the starter hole. What is keeping it up in the starter hole is that bungee cord. Somebody's got to remind me to take this strap off before I rip my hood off whenever I lower the car down. Oh yeah, now we have resistance. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The captain. That is mechanical advantage at its finest. Okay, pry bar, I'm going to pull that out. We're going to wedge my giant wrench or a pipe or something into the clutch here. Also, we got the front of the car jacked up, so the E-shaft's at an angle now. That's helping us. But we'll get that pry bar out, clutch depressed, pull the pulley. Pressed. The stressful part. One mistake here, 20 more hours worth of work. Now we've got access to the front main seal. We can't let any of that stuff move forward. Okay. Oh, we got it out. That hasn't moved. New front main seal going in. Now, you have to be careful because this seal does not have anything that it bottoms out against. So if you push it in too far, then you've pushed it in too far, and that's not good. So you want to push it in flush with the front cover, not any further. I was able to get it started here by hand. Typically, I'd tap this in with a small hammer, which is what we're going to do right now. I got my cute little hammer here. Alright, new front main seal is in. This is a prime time to clean all this stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Clutch is disengaged. Got my pry bar out of there. Checking this for end play again. And like I said, it's kind of an art to be able to feel it. But we definitely still got in play. So, we're good to go ahead and crank this down. I don't know the torque spec off the top of my head, but I know it's really tight. So, we're going to put the jack handle back on here, give this one good torque, and it should be good to go. It's probably about 120. And just like that, we're done. Not really. I just got to crawl in the car and put the starter in it, but no big deal. So, with that, guys, that is how to change your front main seal. Remember, this guy, with your engine still in the car, the safe way. Because remember, you don't want any of this front stack. I'll reassemble it for you here. You don't want any of this stuff to slide forward. You don't want any of this stuff to move around, because if it does, you're going to have issues, and those issues are not the fun ones to fix. because that means you got to take your oil pan off and your front cover off. And then on an RX8 especially, to get the front cover off, you might as well take the engine out, because you're going to be pulling alternator, water pump housing, which is part of the front cover. Coil bracket's got to come off. AC bracket and stuff has to come off. Just pull the engine. Way easier. So with that, guys, drop any questions, comments, thoughts in the comments below. And let me know what else you want to learn. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while on one of these cars. I've had this video on my list, but I've never had a need to do it. So fortunately for us, the RX8 started leaking, so we had to fix it. So with that, guys, thanks a bunch for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it rad. Got that engine cleaned, ready for porting this week. What are you doing, doggo? You've been chasing rabbits, and you're not as fast as rabbits. Did you know that? I have yet to see you catch a rabbit, especially in the dark. Those things are just disappearing. Come here. Think the RX8's ready for the track? Come on, jump. What? Really? Come here. Letty thinks that there is a mouse or something in my woodpile. She's been trying to unwoodpile my woodpile for the whole duration of this video. It's been hilarious. What she didn't see me off camera saying is, hey, leave it, Letty. Leave it alone. I don't think there's anything in there because nothing's scurrying around. But Letty seems to think otherwise. Peace, guys.